today's video, I'm going to be showing you a extreme 3D Kool-Aid design where there's a packet of Kool-Aid pouring over the nail, and instead of powder coming out of it, it has the actual Kool-Aid liquid and then cherries that are sticking into it like it's exploding the flavor. I really like this one. If you were to switch up the flavor and do a different one, you'd probably want to switch up the fruit. In general, this one is actually pretty easy compared to some things because the cherries are just a couple steps, nothing too extravagant or weird shapes, there's nothing like that. And you could switch up the painting to be easier or harder if you wanted. I hope you like it as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
We are going to begin with an overlay of a cover pink acrylic, just something to keep it simple in the background. And I wanted something that would be a light color so that the cherry red color that I used for the Kool-Aid coming out would be nice and bright. So you don't want to do anything that's too dark, especially with those reds. And the one that I used has some sparkle to it and it's a little bit more of a jelly consistency. It just won't look quite as bright and summery. Then after that's done, I'm going to file the nail into shape with my e-file to smooth it all out. And then after it's been filed into shape this way, if you want, you can also drill a hole through it, which I will be doing now. Narrow bit, hole right in the middle of the tip. Now on a silicone mat, I'm going to be painting out the shape of my little Kool-Aid packet. So you're going to want to paint one rectangle that you would imagine for the front of the packet and then make it double wide. So just double it to the side, paint that with your red gel polish. When you're picking out your gel polishes to use for this, be aware that some are going to work better than others. And if you are unsure if yours are going to be a good texture at the end for folding and manipulating, what I would recommend doing is painting a section like a stripe. You can do it just from the bottle. With a bottle brush, paint a stripe on your silicone mat, cure it, apply top coat, cure it again, and then see if it bends. See if when you peel it off of the silicone mat, is it flexible? Can you wiggle it? Can you make a little wiggle back and forth snake thing out of it? If you fold it in half, does it crack? Just look at things like that. As long as your answer is, yeah, no, it doesn't crack, it folds nicely, and everything seems to go well for that, go ahead and use that. If it's a brand that you have worked with before, you're pretty safe saying that the top coat's going to work and the base coat's the color is going to work if it's ones that you have done this type of design with before. But if it's a new brand, I would hate for you to paint this whole little thing out, got the whole label on there, got the blue Kool-Aid, have all the cherries painted, the little Kool-Aid man, and then discover that you can't actually fold it into the shape of the packet. So just be aware of that. The brand I'm using is Madam Glam for all of this, for the packet, for the painting, for the top coat, for the actual Kool-Aid that's pouring out, all Madam Glam. It is a very flexible gel polish. It is perfect for these types of designs. It is also excellent for wearing on natural nails, as the flexibility that they have in their top coat and their base coat and their color coats, because top coat is actually the thing that usually hinders the flexibility the most. So their top coat's really flexible too. All of those things are great for natural nails because as you are moving in your life, a natural nail is going to bend. It's made to bend. That's part of just the anatomy of a natural nail. They bend a little bit. So the more your natural nail bends, the more it has a chance of loosening from your gel coating. So if you have a gel manicure and you find it chips really easily, it is possible that it is the gel polish is not flexible enough, and as your natural nail is bending, as it bends, it is not the gel product is not bending with it, so it has no choice but to separate from the nail. The nail bends underneath, the top coat, the gel polish stays exactly how it was. So that can be an issue. One thing that's really good for Madam Glam is that they are flexible. And so in that circumstance, it is really good to have that if you wear it on your natural nails. Little nail polish sidebar there. So we're going to have our little Kool-Aid logo. As you're painting this Kool-Aid logo, I am well aware that my camera is just ever so slightly out of focus. I hate it when it does that. It's a pain in the butt, but we're going to be painting the little cherries. We have the Kool-Aid word right across the middle. We have our little Kool-Aid man across the top. It says cherry. When you are doing this and you're doing all of these paintings, you can see I have a Flash Cure flashlight. One hand has my paintbrush, one hand has my Flash Cure flashlight, and I go back and forth using them, and I use them so often. Anytime I paint something and I'm like, ooh, I like that, I want it to be secured in place, I'm going to Flash Cure it. As soon as I do a couple different layers, I take my lamp and I set it over the top of the entire painting, and I set it on there and I let it cure for 30 to 60 seconds, depending on what type of product I'm using. If it's gel polish, Madam Glam only requires a 30-second cure. If it's their gel paint, that's 60 seconds. Top coat is 60 seconds. So just be aware of how long the products require for cooking and cook them that long. Don't worry about the flash curing as far as your amounts. So if you flash cure something for 10 seconds, don't only cure it for 20 seconds because it already has 10 seconds. Still do the full 30 seconds. Just pretend that flash cure didn't happen as far as that calculation goes for how long you need something to cure. So as you are painting these last final details on your little Kool-Aid man, I skipped over his arms completely. I gave him his little coat sleeves, and I didn't do his arms. I thought about it and I decided it was just too much to add the arms. They were going to be too tiny and it would end up getting too wide. So I skipped them. And it's not a big deal. Anytime you have a design that you're working on and you want to skip them in that kind of a circumstance, go for it. No problem at all. Once you have that all done and it's got a thin layer of top coat over the top of it, all been cured, peel it off of your silicone mat, trim the sides so they're nice and straight. And then after you have that, you are going to gently bend it in half. This is where it all can go wrong if your gel polish decides to crack, which, like I said, Madam Glam is reliable. So as long as you're using a brand that you are confident in, you shouldn't have any issues. Then you're going to want to apply the thinnest little bit of some nail glue on two edges of your packet, leaving the top of it open. And you're going to fold that in half and glue that shut. As you're gluing it shut, you may accidentally glue it to your finger. I almost always do. And then after you have that done, you're going to glue a piece of wire into the hole that you carved into the tip of your nail. Let that wire kind of just sit in there until the glue is nice and secure. Then you're going to want to glue the other end of your wire inside the packet. Put a glob of nail glue on the end of it. Put the packet inside, hold it. You may find it easier to not use nail glue, but rather use some gel product, whether it be like even gel top coat or a jewelry gel or something that will hold onto it as well. Sometimes gel does not like to stick with nail glue. So if you're having issues, try that instead. Now to make my little cherries, I'm going to cut a bunch of pieces of green thread, and then I'm going to take, and some of them that are a little longer, I'm going to actually knot. So I'm going to take and I'm going to knot them in half. And then that's going to be a stem that has 2 cherries on it. I'm going to do just a few of those just to keep things a little interesting, add some variety to this. And after I have those done, you're going to set them on top of a nail form backing. And then with a few shades of red, if you have them, you're going to be sculpting the cherries. So just make a circle on the ends of the pieces of thread, kind of tuck them in from side to side if they spread out too much, perfect their shape a little bit. After you have them all done on one side, you're just going to flip them over on the nail form backing, hold them down by the thread. A tweezers is a great helpful tool in this circumstance, and you're going to sculpt a second layer of the cherry on the other side. So you've got the flat side that was touching the nail form backing. Essentially, you just want to round that off so it isn't flat anymore. Don't worry though too much about making it perfectly round and spherical, because if you look at a cherry, they all have a little line on one side of them. And so where you have the front and the back of these cherries where you're sculpting them on the 2 sides, there will most likely be a little line, but that actually makes them look more realistic than if they were perfect little spheres. So it all works. Once you have that done, I'm going to be applying some jewelry gel over the top of my wire, and then over like the base of it, kind of filling in the hole that is on the nail where the wire goes into the nail. And then I'm also going to place a little bit of that jewelry gel just kind of all over around the nail. If you have never used jewelry gel before, it is a very sticky gel that'll hold pieces in place. The one thing that it won't necessarily do is it's not going to want to hold these cherries up on the wire for too long. So after you have the ones placed on the wire only, flash cure that so that those are held in place while you go through and you do the rest of them. So do those first and then go through and add the jewelry gel on the other places on the nail. And if you want to kind of do it a few at a time just to kind of get them in place and flash cure them individually, you certainly can do it that way. But the ones on the nail will not move nearly as much, if at all, like the ones did that were kind of suspended on that piece of wire. So we've got our 2 stem cherries. I'm going to be placing those down together. As you're placing down all of these cherries, just kind of look at how many you made, how many you have, and decide where to place them and how to mix up their colors accordingly so that you don't have, for instance, all of the dark ones are on the stem or on the wire and all of the lighter ones are on the nail. You want to kind of keep them mixed up. After you have all the cherries attached, then you're going to take your whatever color your Kool-Aid color is. For me, it's going to be this beautiful shade of a sparkly red, and that color name is from Madam Glam as well, and all of those color names will be in the description box below. And I'm going to be adding my Kool-Aid spill. I'm going to make it so that all of the cherries have a little puddle around them. They're surrounded. If you like that look, obviously go for it. Otherwise, if you want to just kind of make a localized spill right around the base of the wire, you can do that too. However you like it. We're just going to kind of make the Kool-Aid go all over the place. After all of that's done, you're going to need to make sure that you top coat the gel, just the gel polish of this spill. If you want to top coat your cherries or whatever fruit you did, you can do that as well, but it isn't required. There's no paint on it, no gel polish that makes it so that it needs to have the top coat. So if the top coat works with the look you're going for, with cherries, I think they should be shiny. So in that case, I am top coating them. But if whatever fruit you're doing or whatever thing you're doing, you don't think it needs to be shiny, it doesn't have to be. So you could skip that if you would prefer, but you want to make sure that all of that gel polish does get a nice coat of top coat on it so that it doesn't have any of that inhibition layer exposed. So it won't pick up lint for one thing, it won't make other things sticky, and it won't give you any exposure to that gel. After that's been done and cured one final time and this is all set to go, that's it. This is done. I love it so much. I love the cherries. Cherries are just one of my favorite fruits in the summer, and so anything cherry related just makes me feel bright and summery and like, I don't know, good days are upon us. So I hope you guys like this one, and I will see you all next time. Bye!